They called them the Devil's Couple. For 23 years, Jean-Claude Lacote and Hilde van Acker were ghosts. They were the names whispered in the hallways of Interpol. A French conman and his Belgian bride who turned a quiet seaside resort into a killing floor. In 1996, they lured a British businessman into the dunes of the Haan, shot him twice in the head, and vanished into thin air. But they didn't go into hiding. Not exactly. While the world's most elite police forces were hunting them, Jean-Claude was in South Africa, standing in front of a camera, hosting a reality TV show about catching criminals. It is the ultimate cinematic irony. A man wanted for execution-style murder, hiding behind the very badge she was mocking. Tonight, we peel back the layers of a 2-decade-long game of cat and mouse. From the cold sands of Belgium to the high-stakes media world of Aviation, the clock finally ran out for the world's most brazen fugitives. This is the case of the Dune Killers, and this is Static Solved. Out of pure greed, Jean-Claude Lacote wasn't just a killer, he was a career con artist. In the mid-90s, Lacote and Hilde van Acker targeted Marcus Mitchell, a British businessman. They sold him on a fictional international aviation deal. Mitchell loaned them nearly £500,000. When the promised returns didn't materialize, Mitchell stopped being an investor and started being a threat. He wanted his money back, or he wanted them in jail. For Lacote and Van Acker, murder was simply a business expense to protect their freedom. May 23, 1996, the couple lured Mitchell to the quiet Belgian seaside town of Haan, claiming they had the cash ready for him. And the cold, secluded dunes of the North Sea. Mitchell was shot twice in the head at point-blank range. There was no struggle. It was a clinical execution. They left him in the sand and went back to their lives as if a £500,000 problem had simply been erased. Belgian police arrested them almost immediately. However, without the murder weapon, and with Lacote's silver-tongued legal maneuvering, they were released. They didn't wait for a second chance. They fled across the border, sparking a manhunt that spanned 3 continents in 2 decades. Hilde van Acker became the face of Europe's most wanted women, while Lacote used a dozen aliases to stay one step ahead. The couple's most effective tool wasn't a gun, it was Hilde van Acker. In the world of international business, Jean-Claude Lacote could often come across as too smooth, too aggressive, or too good to be true. Hilde was the antidote to that suspicion. As a Belgian national, she provided a European seal of legitimacy. She handled the paperwork, the bank accounts, and the legal front. While Lacote played the high-flying visionary with the multi-million-dollar ideas, Hilde was the quiet, organized professional who made the victim feel like they were dealing with a stable company. Their favorite play was the aviation scam. They would claim to have access to discounted commercial aircraft or specialized parts that could be flipped for a massive profit. They would show victims forged contracts from reputable airlines. They would tell investors like Marcus Mitchell that the deal had to be closed today or the opportunity would vanish. This pressure is a classic con artist tactic designed to bypass the victim's logical brain. Perhaps the most brazen part of their MO was how they hid in plain sight. After fleeing Belgium, they landed in South Africa. Lacote began using the name Jean-Claude Van Damme, not the actor, but a play on common names and later others. He realized that people don't suspect famous people of being fugitives. By producing Duty Calls, a reality show about the South African police service, he embedded himself with the very people meant to catch him. He used his media influence to rub shoulders with high-ranking officials. It's the ultimate MO. If you're friends with the police, they won't look at your Interpol red notice. The couple never stayed in one place for more than a few years. Their strategies included using a network of offshore accounts and shell companies to move money before authorities could freeze them. They were prepared to abandon their homes, cars, and social circles at a moment's notice. When the heat in South Africa became too much after a fraud investigation there, they didn't pack, they just vanished, reappearing in Ivory Coast. Imagine a predator that doesn't hide in the dark, but under the brightest lights possible. While Belgian authorities were scouring the globe for a cold-blooded killer, Jean-Claude Lacote was standing on a film set in South Africa, directing a television show about catching criminals. He wasn't just running from the law, he was mocking it. Behind him, as always, was Hilde, the silent partner who turned his lies into legal reality. Together, they didn't just steal money, they stole identities, lives, and decades of peace from a family in England. In the year 2019, the Devil's Couple had finally run out of countries to hide in. In the year 2021, for the first time in 25 years, they had to look Marcus Mitchell's family in the eye. The glamour was gone. They looked like an ordinary, aging couple. They were arrested and sentenced to 30 years in a Belgian prison each. He spent his life producing crime television, but he forgot one thing. In the real world, you can't edit out the evidence.